time you got? It's 7/31/2008, 11:22 a.m. Corporal Eric Edwards, Orange County Sheriff's Office. Voluntary interview with
Jesse Grund, Grund.
Jesse, this is the second interview that I've conducted and we've recorded with you. You and I were just speaking, and Yuri was in the room from time to time regarding some follow-up stuff that we needed. The one big topic that I want to touch upon with you, and one of the problems that we were having in the timeline, was the 24th of June. Mm-hmm. You recall speaking to Casey on that date. Now, there is some, now you're kind of, your recollection now is you may have heard the child, but you couldn't say it 100%.
Correct, because again, hearing Caylee in the background was a very commonplace for me when I talked to Casey. So that's why at this point I think I did, but I can't say for 100% sure that I did.
Okay. All right, Yuri, got it. Leaving the room now is Yuri. All right. In the conversation with Yuri prior, and then I came in a little bit short. Apparently, you were discussing possible scenarios with what may have happened. Can you go over those again?
Oh. Excuse me.
Was it pool issues?
That was Jesse yawning. There's two different types of what if scenarios that have gone through my head in regards to what could have happened to Caylee. Because I'll say this for the record, I don't believe Caylee at any point in time would have ever hurt, or I don't believe Casey would have ever hurt Caylee on purpose. There's no way that I personally could ever foresee her doing that. I do believe that there are times where Casey would leave Caylee unattended to do things, get on the computer, talk on the phone, and at that point,
be unattended. Where
Caylee would usually, she would hang out in the living room while Casey was in the computer room, or sometimes Casey would go outside to use the telephone and leave Caylee in the living room. She also went outside and played with Caylee a lot, and she'd also be playing with the dogs. She'd let Caylee play in her playpen while she'd go do something. So there were plenty of times where I could have foreseen, because we both know with children, something quick can happen. I mean, Caylee was somebody who, like picking up rocks and putting them in her mouth, or dog food was another thing that she used to use. And Caylee at any point could have picked one of those things up, asphyxiated, and died. It wouldn't take that long for a child that small to asphyxiate and die.
So you're talking the time frames that Casey would leave her alone from time to time were lengthy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, again,
how about the pool?
I didn't know enough about Caylee in the pool. I knew that they liked it. I knew that Caylee loved the pool, but I'd never actually seen Caylee in the pool. Now, I was under the understanding that I actually had to move the ladder because Caylee kept trying to get into the pool and things of that nature. I believe at any point in time, something possibly could have accidentally happened to Caylee. And if something accidentally happened to Caylee, I literally believe that Casey would have an emotional breakdown, a mental breakdown, to the point where I almost believe that she would take Caylee and put her somewhere and then tell herself a new story, a new reality of what happened to her.
Because she's been living in a false reality for years.
Correct. So I don't think it's that far out of the spectrum. I think if something happened to Caylee, her one toe that she's had in reality for the last couple of years, her one foot would be gone, and she would be completely in her own separate world. And I think that's because Casey directly has some issues that mentally she's never gotten taken care of. So I do believe if something accidentally happened to Caylee, which I believe is a what-if scenario that could have happened, choke on a piece of dog food, eat a rock, slip coming out of the pool while they're coming out of the pool together, just fall off of something that she's climbing too high. Caylee was a rambunctious little kid. She liked to climb. She liked to run around. She liked to do things. What 3-year-old doesn't?
Now, Casey actually kind of lives under mom's thumb. It seems like mom's very judgmental of her as far as her parental capabilities. You think Casey would be more than afraid to say, Mom, now look what happened. Look at what I've done.
I believe that there is the distinct possibility that Casey, she wouldn't tell Mom if something like this happened. I don't think there's any way. I don't even think that she would have told anyone except herself. I don't even think. The only way I think if somebody would have known is if she reached out to somebody to help her. But I don't. Casey's always been an independent, self-sufficient person who thrives off the attention of others, but she likes to do things on her own.
Do you think she would have the strength, the inner strength, at that point in time, to take the child and put the child somewhere without help?
I think that she'd be able to take Caylee.
Because it seems like she has to fall on men or boyfriends to have that crutch for confidence. Faced with that situation, would she have to call upon one of those guys?
I believe that she would reach out to somebody for help.
Who would that be?
It would not be me. Because if it was anything in regards...
Well, at that time in her life, though, I mean...
the only person that it would have been with would be her current boyfriend, which would be Tony Lazaro. That's the only person I could think of that she would have personally reached out to. Because, again, they weren't together for very long, and she was already falling in love with him. In her mind, what was falling in love with him. So, I believe Tony Lazaro would be the only one that she'd reach out to for help. She wouldn't reach out to me in regards to anything Caylee related, especially if Caylee got hurt or anything, because she would know what my reaction would be. She also knows that I tend to be an honest and righteous individual. I'm going to come right out and tell the correct people if something happened.
Mary said that there was some discussion about hypotheticals with the playhouse out back. What was that?
Well, what we were talking specifically about in regards to the Playhouse was, as soon as I heard Caylee was missing and found out the extended length of time, I believe if something specifically would have happened to Caylee, the first place she would have put her is that next to the Playhouse. That was the first place I thought of.
Why would that be?
Caylee loved that Playhouse. That was like her own little house. She loved everything about it. She had her own little phone in there. She had her little kitchen set. I mean, she absolutely and totally loved the Playhouse. Every time I'd go outside and play with Caylee, anytime I got the chance, right to the Playhouse, every time. She spent a lot of time out there with her grandparents and with Casey. And I believe that Casey, if something would have happened to her, that would have been the first place that she would have put Caylee if she wanted to place Caylee's body somewhere if something actually did happen to her. That's the first place that I can think of that she would have put her.
How about if she had to remove her from Mom and Dad's house, where do you think she would have found comfort to put her next?
Yeah, honestly, I can't think of anywhere else. My experience with Caylee was the first 11 months she was alive, and then that 2 months, October and November, when I really got to see her. Other than that, it was always home related. Caylee was at home all the time, unless she was with her nanny. She was always at home. She was a home child, I guess would be the best choice of words.